Hey, y'all. It's Juanita Coley, the founder of Solid Rock Consulting, where we help call centers implement technology, optimize the technology that they currently have in place, and build better workforce management teams. I want to welcome you to Call Center Chronicles. Call Center Chronicles is a place for CEOs, call center professionals, tech leaders, and yes, the customer looking to have fun yet thought-provoking conversations around how we improve customer experiences and companies' bottom line. We are on a mission to normalize women in tech and workforce management leadership roles, and we believe that that starts with conversation. Welcome to Call Center Chronicles. Hey, guys. Welcome to another episode of Call Center Chronicles. You guys know I'm always super excited. This episode is nothing less but epic. I'm sure it's going to be epic. My name is Juanita Coley. I am the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting. We are known as the WFM people. We are the people that brands call when they want to elevate and scale their customer experiences. So I'm super excited to have another show with you guys. So listen, we have an amazing guest for you guys today. Her name is none other than the Angela Black. Angela, thank you so much for being with us on the show today. We're gonna hop right in the show. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, but before we got to let's get the people engaged. I want y'all to tell us where you're from. Okay, so if you're tuning in and this is your first time catching Call Center Chronicles, give me a 1 in the chat. Okay, so if this is your first time tuning in, give me a 1 in the chat and let me know where you're tuning in from. Where y'all listening from? Are you in the States? Are you in Europe? Y'all be tuning in for someone everywhere. So let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay. Also, some other housekeeping. Okay, we have an epic event that is happening. Okay, so y'all already know I already released it. Okay, but an epic event is coming up. The Path to Exceptional CX Summit is coming up April 12th and the 13th. Okay, Moa is hosting this conference or this summit rather. This is not a summit that you have ever been to. Okay, I know in the industry we go to a lot of summits, we go to a lot of events, right? And we're talking about customer experience, we're talking about employee experience, we're talking about technology, we're talking about all these things. But you guys know, like last year I did over 60 something conferences and I spoke on over 30 stages, and there was always a key element that was kind of missing. All of the conferences had 1, 2, or some of the things together, and they were great conferences that I went to. Okay, let's not be confused. Amazing conferences that I attended. But being that WFM girl and the contact center whisperer, I always noticed that there was a common thread that was missing. Hence why I curated this space for operational leaders to come to, and it is going to be known as the Path to Exceptional CX Summit. Okay, so it's happening April 13th. The 12th and the 13th is 2 full days live. Okay, so it is remote. You do not have to leave the comforts of your home, okay, to attend the summit. But I promise you, it's going to be a transformative event you do not want to miss. Okay, enough about that. Drop me a link, drop me a comment in the chat if you're going to be attending. Just put summit in the chat. If you're really about that CX, EX life, go ahead and put summit in the chat, okay? All right. So again, already told you, leave me a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from, okay? You all also already know that we're doing our Variant Lunch and Learn series, okay? So if you are a Variant user, you guys know we are also known as the vets, Variant Expert Trainers, and we are training on very specific things in Variant to get you better user adoption. We don't want you just out here using these tools and not getting good user adoption. So make sure that you follow us for the Variant Lunch and Learn date so that you could increase your user adoption on Variant. Okay. All right. So that's all of our housekeeping and announcements. Angela.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Angela, tell the people. Okay. We're going to just dive right in because I feel like, we're going to have an amazing show. Tell the people who you are. Okay. And tell us a little bit about how I'm always interested when people enter the contact center space or they've been in the contact center space. I'm like, it's no way you were dreaming as a child, like, I want to talk about customer service. Like that didn't happen. So tell me how you ended up in the customer experience field.
Actually, I feel like I've been in it all my life. My first job, I was 14 and I was answering phones for a hair salon. That was my first job. And I've done retail sales. I was in pharmaceutical sales most of my corporate career, B2B sales, consultative sales, even multi level marketing, network marketing sales. So, pretty much any sales you could think of, I've done. And I've won a lot of awards in sales, but
Okay, come on, awards.
I don't think I'm the, I mean, I think I can sell, right? I can sell, but I think the biggest impact was how I treated my clients and my customers.
Mm,
And I think the experiences that I gave them, the fact that they felt like they were my only client, even though they weren't, that's what made me sell a lot because they bought
mm,
me
mm,
before they bought my product. And so I think that's what really helped me. And over the years, as time went on, I thought, one day I really want to teach, especially small business owners, how to increase their revenue through great customer experiences and
mm.
creating that loyalty and that customer retention. And I was laid off for the fourth time in my career. If you've
Wow.
been laid off, put it in the chat because
Yeah,
listen,
give us a layoff in the chat. Like we know in our industry, in the tech industry, that's been a common thing. So, this a real topic. So yeah, okay.
it was, I mean, I've been laid off, like I said, four times. The first three times were like the wool, the red rug was pulled from under my feet.
Mm.
But the fourth time, I was ready. And I said, you know what? This is it. I have enough expertise, knowledge, experience that I can share that with small businesses. So I created a consulting called Client Relations Consulting, where people hire me to turn their angry and difficult customers into repeat customers. And I help small businesses strategize and plan out ways to increase customer loyalty and retention, and that increases their revenue. And I also work as a secret shopper. And it's not like I go through the drive through of McDonald's and tell McDonald's, how good the meal was. It's more of a client experience audit that I do for clients. And it's very in depth, very strategic, and it gives them a lot of information about my experience to help them improve. So I, what I love about it really, Juanita, is I love the fact that my clients are able to have strategies in place to help them get organized and help them get their staff to a point that they provide excellent customer service. Listen, we got a lot of negative stuff going on in the world right now, and I like making people happy. And
Yeah.
I tell my clients, we work together to make this world a better place, one customer at a time.
Come
That's what I
on.
say.
I love that. I love that. Now, you said something I got to dig into. You
Yeah.
said you help businesses turn their angry customers or upset customers into repeat customers. Now,
Yeah.
that's some magic if I ain't seen it now. You gotta walk us through that. Tell me how it's one thing. No, seriously. No, seriously, for real. Like, it's one thing to talk about having great customer experience, great customer service, right? Because you had a customer who came into your ecosystem as a new customer, so they're net new, and you are continuing that positive experience. But it's another to have a customer go from negative sentiment to positive sentiment. That is some real stuff right there. Some real juju you got going on. So you got to tell us what is your thought process when a client calls you and say, "Hey, we got some bad online press." It's almost like the cleanup lady, like, okay, we got some bad press going on. I need you to get in here and clean this up. Like, what's your thought process when you're working with a client like that?
Well, for me, I think about how would I want someone to treat my 76-year-old mom, right? I want, and how would I want somebody to treat my grandmother? If that's because I love older people, right? I have a soft spot for older people, so I think about that. And one of the complaints my mother has is when she's calling, say, Social Security, she gets the runaround and she feels like they're not listening to her and they don't respect her. And so I think about whatever client, whatever customer I'm working with, I put myself in their shoes, and I also think about how would I want someone to treat my elderly mom. And when I do that, I know how I am as a customer, right? I want to be heard. I want
Mm,
to be understood. I want to be respected. And I want to feel valued and appreciated. And so I try to make sure I do that when I'm contacting customers who are really upset. I have had customers in my career who have hung up on me, cursed me out, cried on the phone with me, just almost any reaction that you can think of because of the types of jobs that I have. And for me, I stay calm. I don't take anything personally that they say because I recognize I've never met this person before. If they're
mm,
angry, they're not angry at me. They may be angry at a situation or something that happened and they
that's
just
good.
want to be heard. Sometimes I'll call them and I'll let them go through the whole thing of what happened. I also take ownership even if the company that I'm representing did not make a mistake, I still apologize that the client or that the customer didn't have a good experience. And then I try to work with the customer to figure out how can we make this right for you? What can we do to work together to make it right? Now, it does not work all the time. And I do tell my business clients, I say, listen, not all money is good money and we're not going to win every customer every time, right? So, but I try my best and we put our best foot forward. And there are a number of times that I've been able to turn customers around to where they've even become advocates for the business that they were
Mm,
originally angry at and been
mm.
telling other people to do business with them. And then I just found out last week that I had a customer that I called on behalf of a client, and turns out now she works for the client.
Oh, wow.
So that was exciting. I was like, wow, okay, that's great that she now works for that client. So I think having empathy for people and putting yourself in
Yeah.
their shoes and understanding how you would feel if this situation, the same situation happened to you as a customer.
Yeah, that's good because we live in a time in a society where it's so easy to disconnect.
Yeah.
You know, think about social media. People say things on social media that they would never say to you in your face.
Oh yeah.
Like they would never even, they probably wouldn't even think it in your face, you know,
Right.
let alone say it in your face. And so
Right.
we live in a time where it's so easy to disconnect that when we talk about empathy, it becomes a metric and not a actual thing. Like where,
Right.
oh, I understand, or even if I don't understand, I can relate to what you're going through, or you know, even if I can't relate, you know, like just walking through those different things, like how would I want someone to treat me? So I think that is how we start to have the conversation around transformative, right? Transformative, the ability to change from one
Right.
state to the next, transformative CX. So I'm, you know, I'm getting excited because these are some of the topics we're gonna be talking about at the path to exceptional CX. So, but I'm not gonna let them all in on all the juice just yet. I'm not gonna let them in on all the juice. Okay, let me get into my first question because we'll be at an hour before I even get into my real
Okay.
first question. Okay, so
Okay.
first question. Okay. Is this conversation good to y'all? Just let me know in the chat. You know, I read the comments. I go back and, you know, play in the chats with y'all. So let me know if this comment or if this is resonating with you guys. Listen, okay, so Angela, how would you, as the queen, okay, of customer experience, how would you, and we're gonna get back to the secret shopper conversation here in a second. Don't think I forgot, okay, because I'm
Okay.
interested in
Okay.
this. Okay, so
Okay.
as the queen of customer experience, how would you define, you know, I know that there is a definition of customer experience, but how would you define customer experience? And so two-part question. And what are some of the things that you've seen companies who get it? What are some of those examples that they like do well?
Okay. Me, this is something I'm realizing. The more I'm in this consulting role, the more I realize that people say customer service when they're talking about a business, they'll say their customer service is excellent or their customer service is horrible. But what they're really talking about is the customer experience, the overall that they have with that business, right? So people use those terms interchangeably, but they're completely different. So I think people, when I say customer experience, it gets people to thinking, okay, wait a minute, what's the difference between that and customer service? If
Yeah.
I say customer service, they're thinking customer experience, but they don't
Yes.
realize that, right?
Yes.
So for me, the customer experience is the full experience with the touch points you have with that business, right? From the beginning all the way to the end. And I think I like to use, there's two examples I like to use. I like to use the example of McDonald's and Chick-fil-A.
Mm. Why are you gonna pick on them like that? Everybody, now anybody who is watching right now, anybody who is watching right now is already, they already type in the comments if you know who I'm going with. Y'all
They already,
already know. They
they
already
already
know who I'm going with because I talk about Chick-fil-A. I'm like, whoever running Chick-fil-A, just go ahead and run for president. Just go ahead because y'all know how to hire. Whatever y'all doing, just go ahead and run. We need them to
yeah,
hire the president or either run for president.
yeah.
I'm just anyway,
I
I
mean, it's
digress.
a complete difference, and you know what experience you're going to get when you go to each, right? You already know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's because of the experiences you've had in the past that you know, right? So that's one example. Another example is Publix and Kroger. Completely different experiences, right? And so for me, when I think of the experience, let's look at Kroger and let's look at Publix. I go to Kroger, it's kind of dimly lit. The aisles are kind of close together, and it seems like there's always somebody stocking groceries at Publix. And I have to go around them. I mean, I'm sorry, not at Publix, at Kroger.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to go around them in the aisle, right? And then I end up having to check my own groceries out because there's usually only one lane that has someone working the register, and there's a
Angela with
long
all the
line of
tea today.
people. Girl, and I don't
I didn't say it. Okay, Angela
look,
said it. Okay.
I did, and I don't like bringing my own groceries. That's not what I came here to do, right? After I've had a hard time trying to figure out where everything is in the store and nobody there to help me figure out, I can't ask anybody because there's hardly anybody working there. And then I got to ring up my own groceries. I don't like that. So I go to Publix. Publix is very brightly lit. The aisles are wider. So you notice I'm talking about the overall experience. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at the fact that the aisles are wider, it's brightly lit. The music even is a little different than what I hear when I go to a place like Kroger. And then there are people who work there. And if I ask them, can you show me or can you tell me? I'll say, can you tell me where the ketchup is? They don't say aisle 7. They walk me to the
Yeah,
aisle.
I will show you. Let me escort you.
Yes,
You get
they show me. And then they have 3 or 4 aisles open for someone to ring you up. And they also have self checkout. So if you choose to do self checkout, you can, but you don't have to because they have registers open. You know, something else I noticed, and I
Mm.
might be getting ahead of myself because this might be a question that you ask later, but since we're on the topic,
Since we here, you know.
I mean, might as well talk about it. So one of the things I noticed in Publix too was they seem to value their employees. I was one young lady was
Oh,
ringing me.
she trying to make me run. She trying to make me run, Lord. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
one of the ladies was ringing me up, and her manager walks up and gives her a gift card. I think it was might have been a Publix gift card or a Visa gift card, but anyway, it was a gift card, and it was $100. And he said, "This is just because you're doing a great job."
Mm,
And I said,
mm.
"Wow, that was nice." And she said,
It
"Yeah,
made
they do."
you probably want to put in an application. Well, I need to
Oh,
go work at Publix.
give me $100 gift card to Publix. I'm here all the time anyway, right? So she said they do that all the time. Oh yeah, they do that all the time. She said.
Mm.
So
Which is why I'm notorious for saying, see, this is why I say you about to try and make me run because my audience already know I'm notorious for saying you do not have a customer experience strategy
yeah,
unless you have an employee experience
that's right.
strategy.
That's right.
An
You
employee is
cannot
never
expect.
going to treat a
That's right.
customer better than they're being treated. I mean, you'll have those exceptional cases. You got the, Sally do the most, right? That's gonna always go above and beyond, and we need Sallys. right? We need Donnas. Donnas to do the most. I should have said Donna do the most. That would make more sense. Okay, but you get what I'm saying, right? We always gonna
Right.
have those people who go above and beyond, but generally speaking, okay, an employee is never going to treat a customer better than they are being treated, because why? We follow leadership. This is what, this your house, this your
That's
brand,
right.
this your business. And if this
That's
is how you treat your most valuable assets, your people, your resources, and the people who are serving your customer, then you're setting the tone, you're setting the stage.
that's right.
So
So I was
don't get
always
me going.
told
Don't get me
I
going.
was always told things roll downhill
Come
from
on.
the
From the
You know what I
top.
mean? From the top down. And so if you are not valuing and appreciating your employees, who are your first customer? That's your first customer. If you're the owner of a business or if you're the CEO of a company, your first customer is your employee.
That's
That's your internal customer. And if you don't treat them well, how do you expect them to treat your external customers well, right? So when I think about Publix versus Kroger, and McDonald's versus Chick-fil-A, I automatically think, how are the employees being treated? Because they're treating us, I think, the way they're being treated. And it shows. And it, like I said, it rolls from downhill. So yeah, there you have it.
It's just like when parents be like, "Don't go out here and embarrass me now," because they're
Yeah,
gonna think it's less about you embarrassing them. It's more about the people gonna think that this is how you were raised.
right.
Like they're gonna think that I taught you to do this kind of stuff, right? It's
That's
the
right.
same thing with brands and companies and their employees, their team members. Which
That's
is
right.
why it's a reason why Disney called their team members cast. Like, hey, we're always on stage. We always show up, right? It's a
Right.
reason why these organizations that have stellar or are known, right? They may have these anomalies that happen once in a while. Matter of fact, I always joke about Chick-fil-A. So I always say, hey, if I go to Chick-fil-A and something is wrong with my order, I'm questioning me. Right. I immediately start thinking, Juanita, did you actually ask for the Polynesian sauce? Like, did you actually, cause it ain't no way, like ain't,
Right.
yes, I said ain't no way Chick-fil-A got it wrong. So I start questioning me, because why? The experience, right? The sum total of all of my interactions, my perception is that the sum total of all of my interactions to this point has been X, Y, and Z. Right. And so
And I
it
tell
makes
my
me
clients that.
question, it
Yeah.
makes me question me.
Yeah. I tell my clients that. I said, if you set a level of excellence and that's what your customers tend to expect because they get that regularly, then when you make a mistake, which is inevitable, mistakes are inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
When you make a mistake, they will say, that's not characteristic of this business. I'm used to them doing A, B, and C. So you know what? I'm gonna give them a pass.
Right.
It's more, they're more apt to forgive you for that
Right.
mistake and realize that's not normally how they treat me, right? And so then it makes it easier for you to correct the mistake
Right.
because they're used to a level of excellence.
Right.
And but if they're used to sloppiness when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
their customer experience, then when you do something else sloppy, it just piles on and eventually you're going to lose that client. You're going to
You
lose.
gonna be on Twitter, you gonna be on Twitter
Oh yeah,
news, you
that's right.
gonna
And
be on
today,
Twitter news.
today's day and age of social media, it's dangerous
It's
not to have your
bad.
customer experience together. Yes.
It is bad. Okay, so we talked through customer experience and how it's not one and the same of customer service, which I think that's such a great distinction to make. I feel like I'm constantly having to have that conversation around customer service versus customer experience, which leads me into my next question. You were actually going down this path. My next question is around customer experience versus customer journey.
Mhm.
Talk to us a little bit about customer experience versus the customer journey, and how do you help to develop or take a customer through creating their customer journey?
So the customer journey is a strategy. It's where you look at the overall strategy of how you're going to engage your customers, right? So there's I consider there to be five different steps in the customer journey. So the first one is awareness. How will your customers become aware of your business? And that's the strategy that you put together. That's your marketing, basically. How will they become aware of your business? And then once they become aware, how will you get them interested? So they're going to become aware of it, but what makes them interested enough to actually start thinking, maybe I want to do business with this company? And then there's evaluation. So once they become interested, they're going to start evaluating you, and they're going to start thinking, why should I go to this business as opposed to another business, right? And that's another strategy that you have to develop. And then there's the decision. They either make a decision to work with you or to not work with you. This is one of the biggest steps in the customer journey. And then the last one is retention. If they decide to work with you, how are you going to retain them? All of those strategies is the customer journey. Now, outside of that, the customer experience is the little touch points along the way. During the awareness phase, during
How
the
do they
interest phase,
experience your brand? Yeah.
right? How do they
Mm-hmm.
experience your brand? So the customer experience helps to shape the customer journey.
Mm.
So it's kind of nuanced the way they work together, but they work together to create the overall, I guess you could say, experience that your customers are going to have with your business. And then as far as how do I work with my clients to develop their customer journey, it's a lot of strategy. So a lot of clients will hire me to sit and work with them to develop those strategies to encourage better experiences. So sometimes it's building out, what are your customer support team? How are they actually going to speak to your customers? Literally, voicemails, verbal. I sometimes will do a verbal script for my clients for their customer support team, email scripts, things that we want to make sure that your customers have a consistent experience, kind of like Chick-fil-A. If you say thank you at Chick-fil-A, what are they going to say? My
Very,
pleasure.
my pleasure. Yeah, absolutely.
They always say my pleasure. So that is part of that strategy that they have, right? And I help my clients develop that to get the customer experience that they want and to figure out what the journey is going to be from the beginning to the end.
Mm. Let me know in the chat. Have you ever had a conversation around the differences in your organization around the customer experience versus the customer journey? And do you understand the entire customer journey? I'm always interested when I'm talking to operational leaders or any employee in an organization if they even understand the entire customer journey. I think that that's super important that employees understand and all stakeholders in the business understand the customer journey, because I can't shape the perception or the narrative around the experience unless I understand the journey. Does that make
Right,
sense? Like, if unless I understand that you come to my business via chat,
right,
or you come to my business via email, or you come to my business via a retail store, a walk-in store, unless I understand that and who that different person, who is the person who would come to the retail store versus calling in, right? Because I understand how you engage with my business, how you got to my
right.
business. I understand how to create experiences, personalized experiences, because that's shaping that customer experience, creating personalized experiences at those various touch points or milestones to
Right,
create a transformative, right, or an exceptional customer experience. And so when I'm looking at organizations and we're talking about customer experience, and we're talking about the people, the processes, and the technology, I'm always saying, what is your customer journey? And does
right.
everybody in the organization understand the customer journey? And even if they don't understand the customer journey, do they understand enough about what's happening in their role to understand how their role impacts the customer journey?
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. I think a lot of times, especially small businesses, they don't realize that even those employees that don't have direct customer facing roles still have a place in the journey.
Oh, you better
So if
believe it.
you're, girl, if you are a product based business, and you've got an assembly line of people who create the product and then box the product and ship the product off. They don't directly interact with the customer, but you best believe that
Mm-hmm.
if they don't take care in how they package that product,
And the tops is flipping off when I get it, and it's spilling all over my clothes, I'm be like, you know what? I'm never ordering
exactly,
nothing else from here again, because y'all done ruined my dress
exactly,
because you didn't have enough care to put the top on good. So now I got
that's
all your
right,
product on my clothes instead of in my hair. That's why my
that's
edge is
right.
standing out. No, I'm just joking.
That's right. So I mean, every employee needs to understand their importance in the journey so that they can have pride in their role. And I also I work with some of my clients with employee retention because I know one of the things I did when I was a pharmaceutical
It was
rep,
the sigh for me.
um, girl, I've worked for companies where I have felt very appreciated and have worked hard and had some loyalty to that company. And then I've worked with companies where I did not feel appreciated. But when I was a pharmaceutical rep, one of the things I did, I had a product that was for the ICU. And I would go into the hospitals and I would watch those ICU nurses and how hard they worked and how passionate they were about their roles and working with those patients. And it seemed to go just almost unnoticed, but also just unappreciated, like almost taken for granted. So I worked with the charge nurse and I said, listen, let's develop an employee of the quarter program to show some recognition for nurses. And it
I
was
love
just
it.
a plaque. That's all it was a plaque that we put up in the ICU, and it said employee first quarter whatever year and their name, and then each person when they won employee of the quarter got a plaque, right? It made those nurses just light up because they were being recognized for the hard work and the passion and the dedication that they have to their patients. So sometimes when I'm working with my clients, that's a conversation we have. How are you showing your employees that you appreciate them? If you want them to show your customers that they're appreciated, let's work on some ways that we can show your employees how they're appreciated, right? Because like I said, no matter what your role is in the organization, you do have a role in the customer journey. We just have to pinpoint exactly what that role is and show you how important it is and how it matters, so that, because if you lose customers, you lose money and the business could end up folding. So everybody has a role in their own job security, which
Yeah,
is
that'll
making
preach.
sure that those customers keep coming back and spending more money with you, and that they tell other people to spend money with you. That's job security.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And I can guarantee you, some people aren't thinking about it like that. They're just
No.
like, listen, I'm here to do my job and I'm out.
Yep.
But you have to think about, and I used to say this, and when I managed the team at United Healthcare, I would say, hey, focus on purpose and the pay will follow. Like if you focus on doing your job at the best level you can possibly do it,
Right.
I never, and this is probably contradictory to what most people will say as a CEO, right, or as a leader. I generally don't focus on the money, right? Like money is important, right? Like I have payroll, I got all these different things I got to meet. I get it, so the numbers are important. I'm not negating that. But what I'm saying is I focus on the purpose and I focus on the people, and the pay, the revenue will come. It's a byproduct. It's a
Right.
byproduct. The revenue that you're generating, the money, the payroll or the pay that you're generating generally is a direct derivative or a byproduct of the problem that you solve. It is a
Right.
direct result of how you show up from a purpose perspective, and
Right.
how you show up in the world. And so when we think about job security, when we think about, hey, I need to increase income or revenue or whatever, whether you're an employee or whether you're a business owner, I usually challenge people, and this is my own personal how I live my own life. So I'm not giving you this, but how I generally, what I challenge people is, hey, how are you solving a problem? Like focus on that, solve the
Right.
problem, and solve it to the best of your ability, not just
Right.
to collect the check, but to the best of your ability. Like wow, and then you won't have to worry. Like I don't worry about the money piece of it, and
Right.
again, contrary, I know that's a topic, especially for CEOs and those in leadership. They're like, no, I need the money. I need that. So I get it. I definitely get it, because that's a conversation I have to have a lot with my mentors. Like Juanita, okay, you need to get to this number. So anyway, okay, next question, my last question, I'm gonna let you go. Okay, my last
No
question
worries. No worries.
is, what have you seen, working in customer experience and working with customers, what have been some of the things that you've seen have been barriers to customers, your clients, really delivering exceptional customer experience?
Well, we touched on one, which is the employees not feeling bad. That's one way that there's a barrier to delivering great customer experience. But another one is, especially, I'm going to say this, especially for smaller businesses or when a business is brand spanking new, a lot of people don't think about the customer journey and the customer
Mm,
experience. They don't plan for it. They may have a business plan, but how much of that business plan is centered around the overall customer journey and customer experience? Not a lot. And especially for solopreneurs,
that's
they really
good.
aren't thinking about it, right? And so you have to plan for that. It is no, it's not a coincidence. It's not a mistake. It's not a, oh, this just kind of happened with Chick-fil-A. That is part of their customer journey, part of their plan. That's their strategy. And they make sure they train everybody. No matter what Chick-fil-A you go to, you'll get the same experience, right? Or you should anyway, because that's how they planned it out and strategized it. But I think companies make a mistake not strategizing and planning it out and training their staff to perform to that level and provide that hand holding and that concierge level of customer support. I think that's one mistake. And then another one is they don't get feedback from their customers to make sure they're doing what their customers want them to do.
That's
Right.
good.
So if you just out there willy nilly, you
Willy
may,
nilly.
and I will tell you, I've had clients that say, well, I have good customer service. And then I get in there and I'm like, let's tweak this. let's,
You can't go on
let's,
people's business calling their babies ugly, Angela. Okay, you
let's
can't
bring
do
it up
that.
a little notch. Let's do this. Or this is how I would respond to it. And then they go, oh, okay. So I think getting feedback from customers, and you got to be creative because listen, I don't like surveys. I don't know too many people who do like surveys because a lot of times when I get a phone call, and nowadays the phone calls will come up on your phone and it'll say spam or possible spam or whatever, right? And it could just be somebody calling for a survey. So I don't answer it because it says spam. So now they didn't get my feedback.
They need to
Or they'll
call
send
us
me
because we can
an
help them with
email.
that.
Oh, girl. So yeah. So then sometimes they'll send me an email and they say, can you fill out this survey? Girl, I'm busy. I don't have time, right? So you got to be creative with ways that you get feedback from your customers. If
Mm-hmm.
I am, let's say I am an AT&T customer, and let's see, say a phone call comes up and it says AT&T customer service, I'll probably answer it, right? And that way they can say, you know, Miss Black, recently you spoke with one of our support specialists, and we just want to get some feedback from you. I'm more apt to answer that question. I know Lexus, I have a Lexus, and I went to have my car serviced. They sent me email after email asking me to fill out a survey. I don't have time. I don't have time. But then they called me and I picked up the phone and they asked me, how did you feel about your interaction with so and so? And they asked me a couple questions. I answered it, took less than a minute. They got my feedback, right? I think we are so bombarded with emails in today's society. I have some clients that have 5,000 emails in their inbox. Do you think if they get an email asking for a survey, they're going to fill it out? No. First of all, they may not see it. Second of all, they're so overwhelmed with all the other emails they have that they probably won't get to it. So you've got to be somewhat creative when you get feedback, but you got to get feedback from your customers to make sure that every step of that customer journey is flowing the way you want it to.
Mm.
And if not, then that tells you what gaps you need to fill to make sure they have the experience you want them to have.
Yeah, that's so good because those are two big barriers, right? When we talk about employees, not or not having the buy-in, right? Not having the buy-in to like, hey, this how you want it treated, okay, and not having the training. But then the other thing that you said that I was reading a survey around this and doing some research around this, and it talked about customers not believing, like they have a mistrust. And I have to find the article, but it was talking about customers have a mistrust in companies that say they are people first. And the
Mm.
reason that they had that mistrust is because out of the people surveyed, only 12% of them recalled ever getting a survey from the company. So, how are we people first? How are you a people first company or customer centric company, but you've never reached out to me and asked me my opinion on the product or service that I received? Only
And the sad part
12%.
about it is, you said 12% ever recalled
Yeah.
getting asked, right? But those companies may have sent them a
Yeah,
survey.
yeah, yeah. They may have. Right. Exactly. Which is
But
back to my point of what you were saying
right,
about like
right,
sending the emails
right.
and them. Maybe you need to pick up the phone and call, or
That's right.
maybe you need to, again, like you said, be creative or innovative in the ways that you're soliciting feedback.
Right,
Right. And then not having feedback. Brad Cleveland talks about this in his book around customer experience, not creating like this one sided feedback where you're kind of pushing the answer that you want them to give, but actually really asking for genuine feedback that will allow you to critique your processes and your journey so that you can deliver a better customer experience.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. This is such an amazing. I could go on. I could go on. What is
Well, we
one
just have to
thing
have another session. We got to have another
we got to have another session. Well, okay. So what the people don't know is you're going to be hosting a panel for us at the Path to Exceptional CX, the summit. I
Yes,
don't want to
yes.
give people the juice yet. I don't want to tell them what it's about. I don't want to tell them what it's about and who we got on the panel. But I'm super, super excited that you're hosting this panel. I know it's going to be amazing and people are going to get so much value from it. We're going to be talking to organizations. See, I just said I'm not going. I just said I'm not going to tell. See, I just can't hold
It's so
nothing. I
exciting.
can't hold nothing. It's coming, y'all. It's it's coming. We are going to have an amazing time at the Path to Exceptional CX, the summit. And I'm super, super excited for you guys to be there with us. Angela, thank you
Yes.
so much for hanging out with me today. Hang out with me in the green room. I'm going to wrap the show and then I'll be right
Okay.
back over there with you. Okay.
All right. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
All right, y'all. Listen, what y'all think? What y'all think? Give me a comment in the chat. Let me know. Was that not an amazing like when Angela said about she looks at when she goes into organizations talking about customer experience and she look at the employees first, like how the employees being treated. I almost got it. Y'all, the show was almost over. Okay. Y'all almost didn't have no show. All of this was coming off. Okay. I was about to run around the studio, but I had to remember we lie. We lie. We cannot do that. Okay. We got to act right. Okay. But it's so true. It is so true. You all hear me say this all the time. I'm always going to say it. You do not have a customer experience strategy if you do not have an employee experience strategy. Just like the example she gave when she was in Publix and she saw the manager walk up to the employee and say, "Hey, this gift card is for you. You've been doing an amazing job. Just wanted to, it doesn't, a lot of times employees, they're not saying, hey, it has to be this big hoopla thing, but recognize me, recognize that I'm here pushing your vision forward. That's something that we should think about. I could be anywhere in the world. I could be doing anything, but I'm here giving my time, my service to push your vision forward to serve your customers. So value that. And so I'll leave you with this thought. Listen, if you truly, truly want to impact customer experience, employee experience, and you want to impact, more importantly, people, I highly encourage that you come to the Path to Exceptional CX, the summit, and it's going to bless you. It's going to bless you. It's going to bless you. It is going to be transformative. I promise you that. All right, guys, until next time, see y'all later. This is Juanita Coley, the Contact Center Whisper. Bye.